Hello everyone, welcome back to Discovering Dawson's Creek for what feels like a little bit of a significant couple of episodes, really, in season 4 of Dawson's Creek. We seem to have hit some juicy meat, Jeannine, which has been unusual, really, I feel like, for season 4. That's been a little bit wishy-washy here and there, not quite having any sort of solid one focus above the others like we had in the past seasons. But I feel like we've got it now. But in getting it, we've almost come to the end of a story arc, and like that feels a bit odd as to where the second half of this season, kind of goes into. But it does feel like a significant couple of episodes today for everybody involved, really. I think namely the second episode we'll be talking about.
Yes.
Certainly a hell of a lot goes on in that, but interesting territory, sad territory, but also like, thank God that's finally happened in another regard territory. And also, for some reason, Drue Valentine's still knocking around, and I'm not here for that. I'm not here for it.
Right? Why is he there? Why? He doesn't go anywhere. He's nothing, a useless character, and yet we're still trying to give him significant storylines. And
he's continuing to be the same type of person that he's been throughout the whole season. I see no development there. I see no growth there. I see no changing there. I see no... I don't even see him getting more evil or worse. He's just the consistently same amount of evil without anything really to do other than annoy everybody else around him.
Yeah, they're trying to create an Abby-level antagonist and bring that back from like earlier seasons, because I think that worked really well, having her pop in and mess with our characters a little bit and shake things up, force them to face things they didn't want to face, and all of that kind of thing, which was fun, I think.
But you know what Abby was? She was not an ever-present.
No.
She came in after... She could come in after 8-10 episodes and make an impact again, and then go away.
Yeah.
But he's there every damn time.
Yes.
Doing something.
And we're trying to give him storylines. We're trying to have Joey connect with him on some level. And then the next moment he's being an asshole again. Like, what is the point of this character? This is like, you could have put a whole new black character in here and developed them instead of
just one
black character. We got Nikki Green for a little bit. And like her stuff with Dawson was really good and all of that. They could have even and I feel like there was maybe a potential thought to make that a romance with her and Dawson, but they were like, oh no, interracial. Scary.
Well, it's not the 50s anymore. We don't have to worry about that, surely to God.
Well, that's what it seemed like. So I mean, you could have added a whole new black character instead of just some boring white man who does nothing. So, yes, I'm not happy.
I quite agree
with the ever presence of Drue Valentine.
I do quite agree, but we are back to excitedly talk about more Dawson's Creek today, Jeannine.
Yes.
Episodes 13 and 14 of season 4. Get the binder out. Start us off with episode 13, which is called Hopeless, rather hopelessly. Rather unfortunately.
2001. Yes. The senior trip is coming up, and Joey needs to get the time off from work. Not an easy task, seeing that Drue's mom is her boss. However, she decides to give her a few days off if she agrees to go on a double date with Pacey to accompany Drue and a wealthy girl named Anna Evans and make sure that Drue behaves himself. Of course, this isn't an easy thing to do, and during their night out, Joey starts to get concerned over all the attention that Anna is bestowing on Pacey. Dawson has his own problems when he and Gretchen go out with her friends, and he realizes the span in between their ages. Jack also
I love that, by the way. I'm terribly sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
The reading of the synopsis. Oh dear. I've just realised we have an age difference. What are you talking about, Dawson?
Well, I think he's only just feeling it, because it's like when they're in their little bubble and it's just the two of them. Yes. So yes, Dawson has his own problems when he and Gretchen go out with her friends, and he realizes the span in between their ages. Jack also finally gets some positive attention from Tobey, which also
I don't want
another
Jack to get
awful
positive
character
attention
that
from
we're just
Tobey.
not. Ugh, I can't stand Tobey.
There's too many annoying people in Dawson's Creek at the moment.
All these
And there's good things
annoying
going on.
white boys in this.
There's interesting things going on in this episode. Like, I was into seeing Dawson go out with Gretchen and her friends and him feeling this sort of trying to enjoy himself, but not being quite with it, feeling a bit out of place, feeling a bit out of sorts. I think by the end of the episode, he kind of just sends them off to continue the night while he goes home.
Because he's underage and they want to go to some bar. Also, the fact that, like, all of the language that Gretchen is using is making him feel like you're just with me because I'm a safer choice than all the other guys you've been with. It's it's not because of the impact I've made on you and what you see in me or what you like about me as Dawson. It's me, Dawson, the nice guy, and you are just needing a nice guy for a change of pace. So her language is making him think that that's the only reason she's with him. So on top of that,
the first time I've noticed that from Gretchen. We had the wondering questions why Gretchen would really fall for Dawson. Now, obviously, years and years ago, they knew each other as she's obviously Pacey's sister. But what's happened now? Is it simply this delayed rebound that Dawson is for Gretchen? Just a really a surface level pleasant person who, has introspection, and I think he has more introspection now than he certainly did, a season ago. I can give Dawson far more grace at the moment than I perhaps ever have.
Yeah, his concerns are valid here, I definitely think.
They are. His concerns are valid. His reasonings on things
for feeling uncertain about how she's treating him are valid, I think, as well.
Yeah. And his kind of attitude towards things, generally speaking, everything that's kind of going on around him in his life seems very reasonable at the minute. And I appreciate that sort of admittedly change of pace with Dawson's character.
Yeah.
So I enjoy all that aspect. I don't like to think of it in that negative light, to be honest with you, as a relationship that's just he's there purely for Gretchen to feel secure for a little bit before she will inevitably move on to someone her own age, quote unquote, whatever it may be. That is the fear there. And you see why after this episode, during this episode. I think you see why. There's an awful lot of college style conversation going on that he just can't possibly identify with, relate to, because he hasn't had that experience. So obviously that's not his fault. That is just how am I supposed to do that?
Get in this dynamic.
Quiet and try and have a nice time while clearly everybody else around me, Gretchen and her two friends, it might as well just be the three of them, really.
Yes.
And that's the concern.
Well, speaking of Gretchen's friends, you see my display here of my Dawson's Creek Funko Pops. So just 1 second. So I actually have one of Gretchen's friends in Funko Pop form, because one of her friends.
And why?
Well, one of her friends is played by Rachel Drue, who was in The Craft, so this is her Craft Funko Pop. So I just needed to shout out a black character on Dawson's Creek.
Yes, true. I mean, fair enough.
So I will put her today with the other Dawson's Creek figures.
It works. It works. See, unfortunately, our audio listeners can't see this great new addition we have.
Yes, I do have Rachel Drue's character, the one black one from The Craft. I have her Funko Pop, and she played one of Gretchen's college friends in this episode. So yes, wanted to shout her out.
Nice. Very nice little addition. But no, I mean, all that being said about the Dawson Gretchen storyline of this particular episode, it's there to act as I suppose now that we know they're in a relationship, it's the first real, I suppose, I mean, it's not the first real social event, quote unquote, but it's the first real outwardly, this is going to be our life social event.
Yes.
And does it work? The answer to does it work, I think, is no. Personally.
Well, I mean, I think they were perfectly nice to him, and then, like Gretchen says later, that he did get like this seal of approval. And Dawson also has this concern that he is holding her back from doing things because of his age. So I wouldn't say that it doesn't work, but I would say that it was like a learning curve situation. Because ultimately they come back together at the end of this with a really great form of communication with each other, being able to clearly kind of say how they feel. No one's getting defensive. Gretchen kind of senses what Dawson is feeling immediately, and course corrects and doesn't get defensive about his feelings and vice versa. So I think the way that they're able to maturely communicate their feelings, and Gretchen, being honest with Dawson that, no, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything because, if I felt that way, I wouldn't be with you. So I wouldn't say that it doesn't work, but I would say that it was a learning curve.
I think that's a fair assessment. That's perhaps a little bit more of a understanding and reasonable,
a compromise kind of thing.
Yeah, but no, I mean from yourself. That's a more understanding kind of reading of it. That's a more reasonable kind of reading of it, rather than where I'm going at it, which is I'm naturally coming at this taking Dawson for who he has been and thinking in my own mind, well, he's not going to be able to handle it. So why not just go snap by? Might as well not bother, because it's just not going to be exactly what he wants. And he is a guy that needs exactly what he wants. He is a guy that needs exactly what he wants. He can't cope with not getting exactly what he wants. He's not that mature. So I don't want to see 10 more episodes of him going, why can't it work out for me? I don't want to see that. I've already had loads of that.
But I don't think he was doing that. I think this was the maturest.
No, I don't think he was doing it now. I'm seeing, I don't think he is doing it currently. That's just what I'm envisioning. And I just don't.
Okay. From knowing who Dawson is in the past.
From knowing who he is, from seeing
you don't want him to get there.
Happens. Exactly. From seeing what happens in this episode with this situation, I'm just seeing one track there. I ain't seeing the other track. Okay. And that's maybe my narrow-mindedness of Dawson, perhaps. I think I can acknowledge that. But say it isn't so, essentially, is what I'm saying to the show Dawson's Creek at the moment. Say that isn't going to happen. Prove to me that's not going to happen. And if it does, fair enough. I'll hold my hands up and go, you know what, that's a real bit of character growth there. But if you are just going to, in 10 episodes' time, resort back to him crying somewhere because it didn't work out with Gretchen, as he thought, for reasons he was already concerned about, he needs to have that communicative ability. And I think he has developed it. Like you've said, he needs to have that communicative ability to go, this isn't right. It could be right. I don't know. It might be perfect. They might develop this whole relationship into something so unbelievably strong bonded and last forever. That could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Okay. I am taking what I know of Dawson and putting it onto this situation.
Cautiously optimistic.
Very cautiously optimistic. Yeah.
Okay. How did you feel about Gail's reaction to this? How she was kind of treating Dawson in front of Gretchen's friends
I
and her
didn't like
concern
that. I must
earlier in the
I'm
episode?
I must say I was with Dawson on that point. It was like
Yeah.
there's no reason for that, is
Need
there,
to
from Gail?
embarrass me. Yeah.
Like, that is just what you have done, and you kind of know you've done that,
Yeah.
Gail, in that moment. Don't be doing that. That just
Yeah.
puts everybody in a bad mood.
Yeah.
It's not a great look. I mean, look, Gail's going through it at the moment, obviously, pregnancy, hormonal
Yeah.
imbalances, what have you.
Yeah.
Sure. But that it wasn't a good look from Gail.
No, I mean, and even being kind of rude to Gretchen at the beginning of the episode at the restaurant when she's, telling her, "Oh, you're taking personal calls, and this table's been waiting for this bottle of wine, and you could have gotten it in this time you were on the phone." But she had sent Dawson to get the wine, so
Mm.
that's why, like, she was waiting for Dawson to bring it. um, and her just kind of going off on her. And Gretchen really kind of being concerned, like, is it just the hormones, or is it like your mom just is really not happy with me dating her, her only child for now, kind of thing. So,
We don't know yet. We don't know.
yeah.
Maybe there'll be something that
Well,
speaks.
I mean, this episode ends up ending with Gail kind of apologizing to Dawson for that reaction. And telling him that she's sorry, and she's kind of been stewing about what she said to him and how she treated him. But she also does get a little bit defensive because when Dawson comes home early, she he talks about feeling like he's going to be number 7 on her loser list of boyfriends, because
Yeah.
her and her friends were kind of talking about this list of guys she dated that make it on the loser list. And as kind of Gretchen, just instead of going with her friend, she decides to take a taxi back to Dawson and work it out with him. And Gail kind of says to her, I think we can both agree that Dawson shouldn't be number 7 on anybody's list, kind of thing. So she still kind of threw a bit of a dig at her
There's
while
some
also kind of
aggro there.
apologizing. Yeah, but while also kind of apologizing for, not trusting Dawson in this relationship. So, yeah, I don't know. Gail, just maybe just the hormones on top of, like, seeing her son with somebody older, somebody who she sees, has kind of blew into town with some personal kind of conflicts, that she might get Dawson roped up in. I don't know, but I appreciate Gail apologizing, and I always talk about loving getting to see our side characters have these, one-on-one moments. So I really liked this Gail Dawson kind of moment of them talking and her kind of apologizing, and them just having a nice conversation about this situation. So,
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I still think there is some sort of issue Gail has. Um, is she going to come out and directly say anything? Likely not.
yeah.
Likely not. I'd be surprised if there is that. I don't know if it's obviously entirely genuine. I don't know if there is actually a genuine problem there. This is just what I'm reading into it.
Yeah.
It just seems the vibes are off.
Yeah.
The vibes are off with Gail and Gretchen, and maybe it's because this has happened before to Dawson. People have girls have swanned into Capeside. Dawson's gone, you, I'll have you. And then they've either A, quote unquote, broke his heart, B, wrecked his life, or C, just been
Mhm.
bad person, just been a bad person.
Yes, yes, and I can see, seeing your son go through these series of emotional kind of heartaches, you get kind of defensive about the next one who's coming in. Um, and her and feeling like she's on a different kind of level as Dawson in terms of her life trajectory with the 3-year age difference.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't want to see him get hurt again. So, yeah.
Yeah.
An,
It's
an interesting kind of
interesting.
storyline, interesting aspect to throw into that Dawson Gretchen storyline, I think.
It is. It is. I mean, I think before we get into the kind of most of this particular episode, the Joey,
Mhm.
Pacey, Drue, and Anna is her name.
I think so, yeah.
Kind of double date situation going on. Mr. Brooks is fairly quickly deteriorating, isn't he? I mean, this seems to have gotten serious, or very serious, very quickly. I mean, it was serious, I think, in the last episode.
Yes, we know he's dying. So we know we
We-
officially got confirmation that he is dying, and then we learn that it's pancreatic cancer.
But it's just like one, and by the end of the second episode we get today, it literally seems to be like in 3 episodes' time have gone from, oh, here's a character who is going to be, you know, this old curmudgeonly guy who Dawson's made a movie of, old director, like, let's be a bit of gruff friends for a bit, to dying to death. And it's just, whoa, where's all this come from? All of a sudden.
Well, I mean, we don't know how much time has passed in between episodes, so it's like,
Well, no, we don't, I suppose. I suppose we don't. But it can't be that long.
no, because they're still making this movie, and I think Dawson just about finishes it by the time kind of we get to this episode. So they're still working on it. We see him kind of rush to have Dawson sign some kind of document to be able to like run his medications and pick them up for him. And he's like, makes a big deal about it. He's like, oh, hurry, sign it before Evelyn Grams comes back. I don't want her to, get jealous that I'm, taking away her job of taking care of me, kind of thing.
Also, that's an interesting point because, like, how long's that relationship been going on? Mr. Brooks and Grams. Not that long for him to be treating it like that seriously. Surely, you understand kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but I think maybe the timeline has kind of made their relationship feel more prescient and more palpable because they know what's coming. And so it kind of rushes the bond. And, there are talks about, not wanting to waste time and use the little bit you have. And so they've invested a lot knowing that, it's going to come to an end. So maybe that whole kind of idea of thinking is just rushed the emotional process with the both of them. So yeah, she's there giving him his medications. We see him pretending to take them and not really taking his pills. And that kind of ends up coming back later. There's a really sweet moment when Dawson goes to see him and he asks Dawson to help him get into a chair. And Dawson's holding on to him. And before he sits back in the chair, he kind of holds on to Dawson and hugs him.
Yeah.
And we see him kind of start to get really emotional as he's holding on to him. And Dawson, we kind of get Dawson's perspective of the hug. And we see Dawson kind of realize what's happening. And he kind of embraces him back before sitting him in the chair. And it's really sweet, and it's a really quiet moment, and neither of them really kind of acknowledge it because, Mr. Brooks would, make it a thing of it, and Dawson doesn't acknowledge it. No, and it's very sweet, and it really speaks to their relationship, and it's nice to really kind of get this shining example of the growth of this relationship. He says later as well, like, I'm happy that Dawson stole my boat. I think he's telling Evelyn. Because had that not happened, he wouldn't have had that relationship with Dawson. He wouldn't have had that whole confrontation with Evelyn and that making kind of their bond kind of happen. So yeah, like it's just such a quiet, like well-written little moment that like really kind of got me emotional.
And the relationship between Dawson and Mr. Brooks has been such a highlight, I think, of this season.
Yeah.
Because it has been so gradual and quiet and really impactful.
A little contentious. Yeah.
Very contentious, sure.
Yeah.
But very, very kind of emotionally impactful. And certainly when we get into this next episode shortly. Yeah. It's phenomenally emotionally impactful, really, what Dawson goes through because of his friendship with Mr. Brooks. It's it's mad that sort of little underlying story has felt like the forefront of the season for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed that. I still think this last bit of it seems to, really thunder on very quickly. We don't get too much time to sit in pleasantries between the two of them, almost, do we? We get like 3 episodes of genuine, probably pleasantries between the two of them.
And then
Doesn't feel like it should be. It feels like it should be longer.
Yeah.
Until obviously what happens to Mr. Brooks in the next episode happens to him. It's very sad, ultimately.
Yeah. So I mean, we do get him. He gets to see that Dawson's movie's done. He does get to compliment Dawson on the movie. He's like, you're a good filmmaker, kid, and I'm not just saying that because the movie's about me. Like, I think it's really great, and you did a good job, and that whole kind of thing. So Dawson gets that. He gets that hug moment, and then he goes, and then we see him sat playing, Scrabble or something with Grams, and they end up getting to have a nice moment as well, and have kind of a nice goodbye. And then by the end of this episode, Dawson ends up finding Mr. Brooks laid on the ground, and that's how the episode ends. So he hasn't died there just yet.
No.
We end up learning in the next episode he's in a coma. But he did get those moments with the two people that kind of were meant the most to him in this last few moments. So I appreciated that, but I agree with you that it kind of like, we barreled through kind of the good dynamic between the two of them pretty quickly.
Very much so. I've been putting off talking about this next and final element of this first episode purely for the Drue of it all. Because it's just there's a lot of annoying things going on for the majority of the time in this episode, because we get this double date situation, this forced double date situation. Joey and Pacey go out with Drue and this other rich girl, Anna, who clearly know each other. That's obvious right from the start. How they know each other becomes clearer and clearer as we get through. But they clearly don't like each other, yet Drue's mum's obviously told Joey, make sure Anna has a good time. This could be, we need Drue to get with Anna for rich people reasons.
Yes, to up his stature or standing or whatever. Yeah, because she's
but
very
Drue's
affluent.
actively just awful to her the entire time. So obviously Pacey steps in and is actively nice to her. And for some reason, Joey has a problem with this, and I don't see really why. I mean, I don't think that's me being naive. Is that me being naive?
No, I think it's Joey being naive. Like, the fact that, like, who your boyfriend is. Pacey is this person who cares about people. Like, you saw how hard he fought for Jack. You saw, how hard he fought for Andy. You saw who he is as a person fundamentally. He fights for people. He cares about people. And so, you know how your relationship with him began as friends, because he was there to support you in a difficult moment. So
the whole art thing. Remember him buying the wall that you never finished?
Exactly, which he will also quickly correct you. Well, it's not so much I bought that I rented, but which
well, okay, fine.
So who you're with. If he's being nice to this woman, it's because Drue is being terrible to her, and it's just Pacey being Pacey. It's not Pacey trying to flirt. It's not Pacey trying to get attention from another girl. It's Pacey being Pacey. It's Pacey being a good-hearted person. So
there's an awful lot of serious, annoying Joey insecurity in these 2 episodes, and I was not here for it, unfortunately. I always like Joey. I always feel like I want to understand Joey. I want the best for Joey, but she's not helping herself in these 2 episodes at all.
And it also gets kind of annoying that, like, suddenly the biggest issue between the two of them is sex and the lack of them having sex.
Immediately.
When every episode, 13 episodes, 12 episodes in, their problem has been Pacey's academic future dividing him from Joey and her academic future. And that has been literally the conflict in every episode this season. If it's not something Dawson related, it's something to do with them on two different paths, and how is that going to work for their future? Their uncertain future. That's literally been the conflict. Nothing to do with sex, nothing to do with Joey's first time and all of that. None of that has been the issue. This issue has been the veering separation of their futures. So why all of a sudden now is it, oh my gosh, this fear of having sex with each other?
This is going to make me sound like an idiot, and please forgive me for this. I genuinely thought this had already happened. I thought they'd already done this.
Well, I think that's just a matter of you not knowing how American teen shows work, because when a character is set to lose their virginity, it's a huge deal on a show like this.
I mean,
so there would be some build up to let you know that this is a thing that's happening, because clearly in the next episode you see how much they built up to it and how big of a deal they made it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, once we got there, I kind of understood that obviously it hadn't, but I seem to remember scenes earlier on in this season of them undressing in some sort of bedroom. And did that not happen? Am I completely misremembering things that have gone on? Or was it some sort of Joey moment of fiery, okay, let's just do it now and get it over with, and Pacey was like, no, we're not doing this now, we're having more of a conversation about something else totally going on. I may be all over the place in my own mind, admittedly. I'm not. I don't want to spend too long pontificating over what did happen and what didn't happen and why I think one thing or the other.
No.
The fact is, it doesn't matter. But forgive me, I just felt like this had already been an issue.
No, I mean, we had opened the season with that whole kind of them coming back from the boat trip in the summer and everyone speculating, all for us to learn that they never did have sex.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of where it sat, them not having had sex.
And I guess I just thought in like the next episode they did, and then it was over with, and that was fine.
No, they
I guess
of
that's
course
what I thought had happened.
Okay. Yeah, no. I can't think of an episode that would have made you think that in the past few episodes we've seen.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to dwell on this too long.
No. It's fine. So yeah, I just don't understand why it's this huge conflict all of a sudden. This whole, and I guess you could say that this situation with Drue is what brought it up, what brought it out, because it's revealed that Drue and Anna already slept together, and she slept with him very quickly, and now she is feeling like, she was too easy, and that's why he's not interested in her. And so I think, Pacey being able to kind of support her through that as someone who's also had sex, that's maybe where Joey's insecurities come in. So while Pacey's kind of talking to Anna, we see her talking to Drue and her kind of imparting on him. I
mean, she couldn't do a worse thing than talk to Drue about anything. Why is she actively talking to Drue about anything at all? Just push him away, like into the creek. Let him swim off away. Yeah. Let him float away like a Viking funeral, and we'll just forget about him.
Right? A pointless character. But she tries to impart some kind of, perspective onto him of like what this girl must feel like. And he talks about not being good with girls. And she kind of explains to him why, because you're treating them like this. This girl really seems to like you. So why are you
must actively be an idiot as well?
Yes. Why are you treating her this way? Like, you're being stupid. So once she kind of gives him this perspective, he ends up being able to be kinder to Anna and realize that she genuinely liked him. And it wasn't just kind of like a hookup thing for her. And then I guess they work it out and she's fine with him now, even though he treated her like crap all night. He's being nice now. So
it's a weird situation.
that they're happy, I guess. I don't know. This whole storyline was just kind of weird. I think it was all just meant to kind of build to this, like, to build this anticipation around Pacey and Joey and sex. So then when they get
Of
home,
course it was. The problem with Joey, though, is that she thinks far too much about what other people have done and where other people are and what's going on with other people and how that relates to her. It doesn't matter. None
yeah,
of those other people matter when it
yeah,
comes to
and it's
you and
like,
your own relationship, your own feelings, your
yeah,
own
and I,
drive, desires, wants, needs, anything like that matters to you. Why are you paying attention to anything that particularly someone like Drue is doing, telling you, experiencing?
yes,
What
and it,
is
like,
going through your mind where you are
mhm.
computing you and he as the same person who has the same experiences? She thinks everybody does the same things and everybody must feel the same way about the same sort of things. Or she seems to have developed that kind of way of thinking where everybody
Yeah,
must
and like,
think the
mhm.
same way about the same things. And that's just, I don't understand where this has come from and I don't understand why it's there.
Yeah, and she puts this pressure on herself knowing that Pacey's been with other people, and she puts that on herself that, like, he must be unhappy that they haven't done it yet. Like, Pacey's never said that. Pacey's never put any pressure on her. Pacey's only fear is that she doesn't want to because of maybe some looming feeling for Dawson and Dawson wanting to be her first and how much she's built it up. So
We
that's
get
where
this in
his
the
fear,
next episode.
and yeah, that's where his fear comes from, which I think is valid. And his fear
It
coming
is.
from, well, does she even want me this way? Like, I am fine waiting as long as she wants to wait, but I kind of want to know. I like the honesty, in not pressure, but a pure honesty of, I love this woman, I want this woman, I'm happy to wait as long as she wants to wait, no pressure. But I just
Yeah.
at least want to know that it's not for lack of wanting me the way I want her. And so
Well,
I like
yeah, I
Pacey's
mean,
honesty in the
Pacey
Dawson
says,
thing, and I like his honesty in saying, "I just want to know that you want me. That's it. That's all I
absolutely.
need." Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of that is said in the second episode. If we
Mhm.
want to get the binder back out and get into the
Oh,
synopsis
yes,
of
yes.
this, because I think a great conversation that the two of them have in this random episode where they all go on a ski trip, because it's one of those shows now,
It's a senior trip,
um,
yeah.
is this conversation they have where Pacey actually has to explain to Joey that, of course, I want to sleep with you. I am your boyfriend. I love you. What's so difficult to comprehend
Yeah,
about that?
yeah.
And like, she has this weird thing of, well, what if he doesn't want me? Are you actively an idiot? Why do you think he's still with you then? And this is what he actually has
Exactly.
to say to her. Would he not be still with you? If, of course, he wants that. That is a significant part of any
Mhm.
relationship.
Yes, yeah. And he says,
So,
9 months in, if it was just about the sex for me, like, I wouldn't still be here 9 months later. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Like, it's just sensible way of thinking. And she kind of, well, she's essentially smacked across the face with that bit of logic because she can't really come back from, she can't really retort
Yeah,
to it.
and so she admits that, like, her lack of expressing maybe a wanting for him, even though it's there, is that she's scared. And that's valid. Okay.
It's,
He
of
says
course it
he's,
is.
yes.
Of
And so
course
they,
it is.
yes, and so they end up coming to the conclusion that it's just why it's been kind of a weirdness about that is that they're both scared. So they come to that conclusion by the end of the episode. Um before we
It's a
do,
very annoying, wishy-washy way of getting there.
yes, and, like, just kinda throwing it out of nowhere. Had they had more episodes kind of building up to this insecurity of sex and those conversations,
I
like,
would,
we kicked off the beginning of the season with that and, like, that speculation, and then we kind of just dropped off with that, and then it turned into this whole, our futures are going in different directions issue every episode.
yeah.
So, and
I
now
must
we're
admit,
circling back to this kind of out
I,
of
I,
nowhere.
I, I must admit, I don't know if I would have been able to handle episode after episode of that as a conflict
Yeah.
again now, because it would have felt even more just idiotic for the two
Like,
of
yeah,
them.
why are you
For
making
me,
such a big deal out of this? Like, sure,
number
when you're
one,
that age, sex feels like a big deal, but it's
of
like
course,
if you are as serious about this person as you are about this person, like then
it doesn't take that much thought. It doesn't take that much thought. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I would have gotten so actively frustrated with why are we just having this fiddly-diddly messing about conversation time
Yeah,
and time
and if
again with each other
anything,
about, oh, I want to do it, but I don't, and I'm too scared. And Pacey's like, oh, I want to do it, but she might be too scared. And you're both annoying me now. Just, just,
yes,
just, just come together and just begin.
lay
Just do
out,
it.
yes,
It's fine.
yes. And if you need to lay out your valid concerns, I'm concerned about maybe a looming Dawson thing. I'm concerned that maybe you don't want me in the way I want you. Her concerns, you've had multiple sexual relationships that meant a lot to you. Can I stack up? Like those should be like the root of this issue. You have this talk. You reveal, no, that's not the case for me. No, that's not the case for me. Okay, we're good to go. But
Crack on.
like, yes, but no, this like deep seriousness that they put on this, despite how intense we saw their love to be, it
And
just
well, that's
feels
what and
like
that
a lot.
that's the
It
confusing
feels
thing
it
about
feels
it.
a little too melodramatic, it's particularly like even for a show like this, it feels
It
a
really
little
does. It really does.
melodramatic.
And
Yes.
that is truly the confusing thing. It's
Yeah.
that the care and love and affection they clearly both have for each other has never I've never questioned that. Never
Yeah.
ever have I questioned that. That is so, so strong. So what on earth is this worry
Yeah.
for? Why is it there? I
Yeah.
could
And like,
understand if it was there generally. I can
yeah.
understand so how countless teen shows, movies, what have you,
Hmm.
about the concerns of having sex for the first time. Countless of
Hmm.
them. So it's an understandable concept. Of course it is. That's always going to be there. But when you're in a genuine, like two really good-hearted people together,
Yeah.
like there should not
It
be
should not be
this.
dragging on this long. And like I said, the issues that they both had, those are things that can easily be discussed, be debunked because she's thinking this, he's thinking that. And there's a confusion of like, I think you're thinking this, you think I'm thinking that. We talk it out, we realize that's not what either of us are thinking. This is what the truth is. Okay, you should be in the clear. But to kind of build it up and fabricate these different reasonings. Because yeah, like I said, I think the only issues they should have is him maybe having this looming fear of her feelings for Dawson and how Dawson will react to it because that has been a a,
Sure.
a fair thing for her to constantly think about. And if
Yeah.
she really wants him because maybe she's not doing enough to like make him feel that. And then her feeling like, yes, you've had these two profound sexual relationships, Tamara and Andy. These women meant so much to you. These were your first sexual relationships. I've had none. You have experience. I don't. Can I stack up against these relationships? And so I think those are the valid concerns that we should have kind of really put more focus on as opposed to like these weird melodramatic, like nothing arbitrary fears.
Yeah. It's a funny
Yes.
one. It's a funny
Yes.
one.
So I will say real quickly, I can understand why you were ready to move on without talking about this because I almost forgot about it too. But there is a little
The
Jack
Toby
storyline.
thing. I don't want to talk about it though. I don't want to talk about it. I don't care about it. Do you know what I care about? I care about the Jack storyline in the next episode because that's actually kind of interesting.
That was really interesting. Yes. So briefly just brushing through it. I mean, it was good to see Jack like in a different vein, like seeing him work with that kid and teaching him how to read and all of that kind of thing. Like, okay.
That
I
aspect, yes. Jack the teacher, all for it. More of that. Definitely.
yes.
Great little sweet dynamic
But then
sweet scenes there.
you learn that Toby set up this whole tutoring thing just to hang out with Jack. Like this was not something he did out of the goodness of his heart, something that pre-existed. He only created this whole kids mentoring thing so he could hang out with Jack. and it feels very weird. And then he kind of sets up Jack to go with him for coffee with his friends, not knowing that the friends are a gay couple. And so once Jack goes to this coffee shop and sees that that's the arrangement, I really love Jack's honesty. And like, Tobey, I wish things were different. I wish I felt differently, but it's just not going to work. It's never going to work with us.
Well, yeah, but unfortunately, you're literally the worst person the show's ever had. You're the most self-righteous, obnoxious.
He's so self-righteous, and the fact that like Jack is not gay enough for him, he doesn't act stereotypically gay enough for you, and that's your problem with him.
What do you want him to do?
But then also Jack also being like,
I'd love the hilarious explanation as to what Tobey wants Jack to be, because it would be the most over stereotypical, absurdist level of gay person you could possibly imagine.
But then Jack's excuse on next episode, when Jen is like, you can't give me a real reason why you don't want to be with Tobey, which we could give you a billion reasons why not to be with Tobey. But he says that Tobey's too gay. Have you met Jack? You've really met no gay people if you think Tobey is too gay.
I mean, that's also very true. He's very not stereotypical.
Typically gay. Yes. So I don't know where Jack is getting this. He needs to meet more gay people. So if nothing, it's like, I want Jack to meet more gay people and be in more of that scene. He isolates himself too much because he's not like that, and so he doesn't like. He needs to meet other gay people who are not, I guess, as outwardly gay. I don't know. Jack is also kind of just annoying me in the fact that like he is holding himself back from really growing in his experiences.
I think Jack as a character deserves the treatment of gay characters in today's teen media rather than the treatment of gay characters in teen media of 2001. Because he would have such a more positive kind of romantic side of his story if Dawson's Creek was made today.
Yeah, probably.
There'd be so much more going on for Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, namely, I very much doubt he would be the only gay person in Capeside, for example. It just wouldn't happen.
Exactly.
So, because that's not real life, obviously, is it? You don't just
one
gay person in a town. So
yes, and if his only other experience outside of Ethan is Tobey, then yeah.
No, go back to Ethan, for God's sake. He was a good dude.
I would get, yes, but he tried and he was too little too late. But so that was kind of where we ended that he rejected Tobey. He actually was pretty nice about the rejection, but I appreciate him being brutally honest with him. And so now he's with Jen, and Jen,
you're not attractive. Go away.
He didn't quite say all of that, but
he should have done.
Yeah, he should have.
Tobey, you're not a good person. Go away. You're
annoying. Very performative.
You actively created a very, very well-meaning looking charitable children's
reading program,
writing, tutoring program for no other reason, just for your own romantic interest.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and I fear some people might read that as a grand romantic gesture, which I was kind of worried.
It's not a grand romantic gesture.
Yes, I was like, is Jen going to be selling it to him as this in the next episode? And luckily she didn't really. So, yeah.
No, she was trying to sell him something else and then didn't.
Oh, yeah. Crazy. I forgot of that. This had happened. So, yeah. So episode 14.
That it happened anyway. Yes.
Yes. So episode 7, or I'm sorry, episode 14. Because it aired February 7th, 2001. A Winter's Tale. While the rest of the class is on the ski trip, Dawson stays behind to care for a near-death Mr. Brooks, but he's overwhelmed when he's asked to make an impossibly hard decision. Dawson is given the responsibility to decide whether to cut off Brooks's life support. Meanwhile, there's a lot more than skiing going on at the senior when the senior trip doesn't go exactly as planned. The evening takes an unexpectedly romantic turn for best friends Jack and Jen. After spraining her ankle, Jen gets drunk and nearly sleeps with Jack, while Pacey and Joey find their own ways to keep warm on the cold, snowy night, taking their relationship to the next level.
Oh, yes. I mean, look, admittedly, you've already talked about quite a bit of the concepts that are going on in this episode, haven't we?
Yes.
Dawson and Brooks, Joey and Pacey, and
Yeah.
well, we can get straight into more Jack and Jen if you want.
Yes.
This is the really interesting thing I think going on. As we've said, we've spoken at some length in this episode already about those other two relationship dynamics going on. But this Jack and Jen stuff kind of fascinates me. I kind of love that it nearly happens.
Yeah, because it's like, and then you think back to this original like setup that they were set up all those years ago. When they first met, it was like a double date kind of setup situation at the dance. But yeah, so Jen sprains her ankle right off the bus. Drue, he hijacks
Why is
the
he
keys
still there? Why has he been allowed to go on the ski trip?
And he sneaks the girl, the Anna girl, onto the trip with him, who doesn't go to their school. And she gets to sneak on the trip with him, which then adds more to the whole Pacey and experience and other girls dynamic that Joey, makes a big deal about.
Now, I do have a question. Now, this is obviously a
Yes.
school-led trip, right? They go with their. It's not just they're all going because they're all in the same class. They've managed to. It's like from the school.
Yes,
right?
School
Like
senior
trip.
class trip. Yeah.
So how, for God's sake, is Anna able to go? Like, do the teachers there? No, I understand it's a sneaking situation, but do the teachers there not just go? Are they not doing head counts? Are they not realizing they've got an extra person on board, and that could be? And that's
apparently it's not.
allowed.
It's not that big enough of a deal to pay attention to, because
it should be. I've been on these sort of trips with my school when I was at school and college and things. It's very, very strict on who goes where when. So there would be none of this sneaking somebody random onto the thing, no matter who you are.
Yep, well, it happens. And Drue is also able to hijack the keys from like the nerdy class kid that the teacher leaves with the room keys. And he's supposed to assign everybody with
idea as well.
Right?
Why doesn't the
teacher just do it exactly
themselves?
Yeah, so he's like, nerdy hall pass kid is going to be the one giving out the keys, all same sex rooms. And then Drue takes the keys from him. He gets him and the girl and Anna a room of their own. He gives Pacey and Joey a key for a room, and he gives Jack and Jen a key for their room, and then he gives the keys back to the kid to administer to everyone else. So I don't know why the other students wouldn't just snitch on them, because
the nitpicks would be endless.
Exactly.
The logistics of this ski trip are terrible. There's no skiing going on. Everybody's just drunk, which is dangerous.
In the hot tubs and all of that stuff. Well, yeah, because the teacher also says all the keys to the mini fridge are all confiscated as well. But as Jen and Jack are kind of in their room, and Jen, she can't do anything, she decides to use like a hairpin or something and breaks into the mini fridge and gets all the drinks. So
why have they booked a place with mini fridge with mini bars in the hotel rooms for underage school kids to go on a trip? That's pretty irresponsible from the school.
I mean, it's probably the only ski lodge near them. I don't know.
But they say it's in Vermont. There's plenty. It's a good skiing area. Is Vermont? I don't think it. But the logistics of the trip were awful.
I love that you just think about go on about these things. Like, this is a pivotal episode in Dawson's Creek. You're just like, it is mini fridges. How dare they?
just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It's not supposed to make sense because you're supposed to be focusing on something else. So, like Jack and Jen almost having sex. So, yeah. And like Jack also having this weird, like, ew, I don't want to see you naked kind of thing, which I feel like him and Jen's relationship. Yes, I feel like him and Jen's relationship should be a lot closer than that. That like he wouldn't feel weird about, like, she just asked him like, "Hey, can you help me take my pants off?" Like, I don't think that's a crazy thing based off of their dynamic.
No,
that he's like, "Oh, ew, when you're a girl and I shouldn't see and it's not appropriate," and those like him being like that just felt weird to their relationship.
Yeah, it is literally grow up. We're not, we're not 13.
Yes, so, and like at this moment, it's not a sexual thing. It's I'm injured. I want my friend to help me. So
yeah, to help me take my pants off so I can go and have a bath.
Take a bath. Exactly. So the fact that Jack
I'm not asking you to bathe me and wash my back.
Exactly. So Jack getting weird about this felt just funny. And so she's feeling up.
This isn't a Teddy Pendergrass song.
Yeah, turn off the lights.
Turn off the lights where we're washing our bodies with hot oil.
I'll wash your body. Yeah.
This isn't that situation,
Rub me down with some hot oils, baby. Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, it's not that yet.
It could be. It could be.
Yes.
Should have put that on for Joey and Pacey. That'd have been
right.
Fun.
No, yeah.
Joey would have, frankly, ran out the room if someone.
She would have been terrified. She had to be the one to dictate how all of that
went.
Which I.
That's what it felt like.
But I do appreciate that she ends up kind of being the one to dictate that whole moment by the end of it.
True.
Very confidently.
She has the agency.
Yes. So yeah, Jen decides to break into the minibar because she can't find anything else to do. She's also kind of wallowing a little bit and being lonely. So Jack decides to drink with her, and they're drinking and they're feeling lonely, and he's kind of talking about his fears. And then as they're kind of drunk, because I love that they're kind of maybe subtly, because I told you I love when the show does this and it kind of calls back to little old moments and things. And this is like Jack kind of calling back to, Jen being a bit of a rebel. And like when Dawson kind of wanted those little bit of lessons to kind of be rebellious, he went to Jen and they had like, they went skinny dipping and did all these kind of fun little rebellious things. And Jack kind of calling back to that, like, aren't you the person to kind of help you be spontaneous? So I love that there was kind of a little bit of a callback feeling to that in this moment. So that's why he decides to drink with her. And he kind of complains about being a sad, like, drunk, and the conversation kind of takes a bit of a...
Oh, the world is falling apart around
Yes,
me.
I'm so lonely. And he talks about, and so it does get a little bit serious, and he says, I'm just scared I won't find a guy that I love as much as I love you.
And I mean, that is true. We are joking. I am joking about it, but there's genuinely serious things.
Oh yeah, and like Jen gets very emotional in hearing that. Like, this guy loves me that much, and the alcohol as well. And so she kisses him on the forehead, and then she kisses him on the cheek, and then it kind of looking at each other.
And then all of a sudden, we're in front of the fireplace on the rug field,
making out. And Jen is the one who ultimately stops it. And he's like, kind of like, no,
rightfully, admittedly, we wouldn't have. Look, I think in the moment it would have been fascinating for this to have actually come to something.
Yes.
But I don't think for the betterment of that particular relationship
that needed to happen.
It would have been a bad idea.
Yes, and I think people might think it's just a waste of a thing. But I
don't think it is.
No, I like that it was like an interesting kind of way to take the relationship, and it felt organic to where these characters are.
Felt more organic than Pacey and
exactly
Joey,
kind of fabricating these fears all of a sudden to build up to this moment that Joey and Pacey have. Whereas it felt valid. Like, he's feeling weird about like Tobey and not finding anybody. She's been alone since Henry, and it not working out and that being a tough, difficult relationship and all of that. So they're in a place where this feels like a valid way to take their relationship and an interesting thing to do that's also very much for the shock factor of fans. So I loved this little storyline. Her stopping it, him kind of wanting to keep going, and her kind of laying out the she's like, it might feel really good right now. It might feel really great in the moment, but when we sober up, we're not going to feel good about this. And so
this maybe speaks to the the why Michelle Williams would be the one to go on to win the Oscars.
Yes.
Rather than anybody else involved in Dawson's Creek, because she's able to give the nuance that this requires.
Oh yeah. And like they end it really sweetly as well. Like he takes her hand and says thank you, like, for not letting me kind of do this.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It ends nicely. It's just that, oh thank God that nearly happened. And it will be a story they probably reminisce on for years.
Exactly.
And years. God, remember when that nearly happened?
Yes. So they decide, okay, it's probably not the best thing. We're drunk, we're lonely, not the best thing to do.
I don't want him to get with Tobey though. Like, I don't want Tobey anymore. I don't want it to happen. He can get with other people. He can have a nice gay relationship with other people.
Well, do we have Tobey lingering around this long for that not to be a potential thing? Just saying. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. I don't want it either.
Tobey's not even a good-looking person. Is he though? I mean, at least Kerr Smith is a handsome man.
Yeah.
Tobey's not. I mean, they're better than Tobey.
Well, we will see where that
was
goes.
Better than Tobey.
Yeah, oh yeah, Ethan was way better than Tobey. But yeah, Jack has said how he feels about that. But as I said, would we have Tobey lurking around this long if it wasn't going to be something? So. We jump back to, I don't know if you want to talk about Dawson, Mr. Brooks, and all of that. We
can talk about Dawson and Mr. Brooks. Yeah, I think that's probably a wise place to go, because Dawson doesn't go on the ski trip. Dawson's back in Capeside, looking after Mr. Brooks, obviously, or looking out for Mr. Brooks.
Yeah.
Having these conversations about existential conversations and faith-based conversations with Grams, and it's all very introspective and deep and impactful. Admit it, I really did enjoy it. I thought, oh, where's this been from Dawson's Creek for ages? This is some serious levels of thematic greatness going on here.
Yeah, and well, Dawson learns that document that he signed, that Mr. Brooks gave him, was a directive for him to be the one to decide whether he lives or dies, like to take him off life support or not. And when Dawson learns this from Dr. I think his name's Tony Hale from Arrested Development.
Yes, I thought I recognized him.
Yeah, he tells him that that's what it is. There's not really anything we can do about it. Of course, Dawson's parents are very much like, you can't have this kid make this decision, da 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 da. And he's like, well, there's nothing we can do. Like, he's on there.
But yes, he's a child who signed a legal document. He's a legal child who has signed a legal document. Does that equate? If he's a legal child?
He's 18. He's 18.
Oh, he's
so
18.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I think they said he was 18 now. So,
where was Dawson's birthday episode? I don't remember that.
I know. All right.
We just breezed over that.
Yeah, I just remember the birthday where he got drunk and fell in the cake, but I don't think that was his 18th birthday. But yeah, so he's really kind of scared about having to make this decision. He doesn't know what to do.
Of course.
Yeah. Gretchen, I think, is a really great support to him. Grams is. So I like that he has this kind of circle around him. Gretchen, when she drops Pacey and Joey off at the ski trip, she makes sure to mention it to Joey. Just give Dawson a call and check on him. So I love that. So she does. We do get to see them have a conversation, and her kind of being supportive of him and him really not knowing what to do. And we get another.
You have a call right after her and Pacey have
a fight.
Is it the Dawson of it all that's causing you to not want to sleep with me and all that? And then she goes and calls Dawson. Looks a bit sus to me.
Little sus. But then we do get another guest star appearing in this episode.
We do.
I don't know if you want to start doing a little whistling there, but we get Andy
I could do.
Griffith.
Yeah, I could do.
He comes in as that actor, his best
Yeah.
friend who stole his girl from that movie that him and Gretchen had watched.
Good guest star get, I must
Mhm.
say. Good, I
Yes.
like that. I like that
Yes.
he's showing up in this kind of role.
Yes. So Dawson's asleep in the chair next to Mr. Brooks's bed, and somebody comes in, Andy Griffith, and he says, "Well, you'll get to see her first, like you win," kind of thing. And then, Dawson kind of realizes who he is, and they have this conversation. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know you must be his grandson." He's like, "Oh no, I'm just a friend of his." And then he realizes who this guy is, who he's the one who
Yeah.
made him kind of lose his spirit for directing because, his best friend, his lead actor, stole his girl who was his lead actress, and that just kind of killed any drive he had, killed any future career in filmmaking that he aspired to. And that was the guy who did that, and he came back to say goodbye to him, and he
Mr. Brooks had wrote him a letter like
yeah,
a couple of weeks before or something like that.
yeah,
Explaining everything and talking about forgiveness and all this kind of stuff. So it's
yeah.
this nice moment of a final sort of reconciliation and goodbye, I think, for
Yes, and this yeah.
whoever Andy Griffith's playing.
Yes, and so he is like, he talks about kind of feeling bad about, I thought about calling him after she had died, because I felt
Yeah.
like, he'd be the only one to understand what I was feeling, but I didn't, and those kind of regrets he has, and that he kind of deserves to see her first, like, in the afterlife and this whole kind of thing. So nice to have, a kind of known name kind of actor come in and do this little
Definitely.
moment and kind of tie up a loose end for Mr. Brooks, before we kind of inevitably know what's going to happen. So Dawson ultimately, after kind of talking to everyone and really thinking about it and knowing Mr. Brooks, he decides to take him off life support. And Mr. Brooks dies, and he has this really just quiet moment with him because we see Grams leave the room, we see Gretchen leave the room, we see
Yeah.
his parents leave the room. And then at the end of the episode, we see a nice little kind of movie night happening, and they're all sat around watching one of Mr. Brooks's films. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
We
kind of a
must
nice send off
remember
for him.
great noir directors, mustn't we, Jeannine?
Exactly. And so I think if I remember, Dawson ends up kind of trying to do some things with Mr. Brooks's estate and the documentary and trying to get his name out
Okay.
there because I want to say in the next episode he's kind of upset that nobody knows about him, that nobody knows who he is, and so he kind of
Yeah.
maybe take steps to change that. I think I don't remember, but I think that's
Well, that
kind
can
of
happen, this can happen, the forgotten greats of old Hollywood. I know Mr.
Mhm.
Brooks is obviously a fictional character, but he's
Yeah.
very much based on certain real people who made great semi-forgotten movies,
Mhm.
and those who do remember their names feel a certain obligation to
Mhm.
shout the names from the rooftops,
Yeah.
and say, "This guy, this person's great.
Mhm.
This actor's great. This actress is great. This, whoever is great.
Yeah.
Remember them." And
Yes.
we do that all the time on the main show, don't we?
Exactly. Yes.
Um,
So yeah, a really beautiful kind of storyline, a nice turn for Dawson to take after years of him just being very difficult to take. So I
yeah,
like this ease that they're putting on Dawson, the maturity he's showing in the Gretchen relationship, the maturity he's showing with this whole Mr. Brooks thing. I love that they kind of both came back to their love of filmmaking together. Um, that's kind of a beautiful thing, especially, I think to people like us who are, huge cinephiles. So the fact that they found their way back to a love of filmmaking together, I think it
yeah,
was a really kind of sweet storyline for Dawson and a really beautiful way for him to get back to kind of what he was introduced to us as. So yeah, a really heartbreaking storyline for Dawson, but I think a much needed one for his character, and I think it played really well. So yeah, really emotional.
definitely. Well, I think the only one thing we have to talk about now, I think we've talked about all the contentious aspects of it all.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it actually comes to something rather massive, doesn't it? Or rather significant.
Yeah, because I think Anna and Drue, their relationship ends up not really being this kind of, monogamous thing. They're just kind of having fun together, essentially. So when they go
Some sort of
out,
random, let's just sleep with whoever, anybody, and
yeah,
anything.
exactly, kind of thing.
7
So when they
people
all
at
go out,
once, and let's have a big hole. Let's make a mess of a hot tub, essentially, which is a
yes.
horrible idea.
Well,
But
yeah.
it could.
Well, they
It
go
could.
out.
I don't want to think about that. Actually, I've put a horrible image in my own mind now,
That's
and I
why they
don't.
use
I don't
chlorine
like.
in hot tubs as well.
That's why they use chlor. That's why one must never go into a hot tub.
That is not using chlorine.
No, just generally.
Just
You
in
don't.
general.
You know.
Just in general. Okay. Fair. So we do get a scene with Anna and Drue and Joey and Pacey kind of out at a restaurant with kind of the rest of the students. And this whole kind of big community conversation is happening about kind of the pressures of sex and who has it easier, guys or girls, and this whole kind of thing. And then
This was also one of the most annoyingly misogynistic things Dawson's Creek has ever put forward. Not that the show's being this way, it's simply depicting this from certain characters. But it just felt very like, this is what people are like now, and I don't like it. This is what 18-year-old men are like now. I don't want to be reminded.
Because it was like the conversation circled around. It's much easier for girls to initiate sex because all they have to do is say, "Hey, I'm ready." Whereas a guy can't put too much pressure on it and all these kinds of things, and like they can't do anything if the girl isn't ready, and this whole kind of conversation breaks out. And then I think the topic of, a guy is always just planning for it because they have a condom in their wallet. So they're like, guys, get out your wallets, and all the guys show that they have a condom in their wallet.
And nobody should ever sleep with any of them.
Yeah. And so Joey's like, Pacey, where's your wallet? Oh, I left it back at the room. Okay. So then we get on the street and Joey's like, why didn't you show your wallet? And he's like, oh, I said I left it back in the room. She's like, no, it's in your pocket. So he pulls out his wallet, and I love that he just hands it to her. Like, he's not trying to hide anything. He just didn't want to kind of like maybe embarrass her in front of that crowd or.
There's something different there. It's different in that respect because
he didn't want to kind of make a big thing about their sex life in front of these strangers. Like, he didn't want to. So he kind of made up that excuse. It wasn't to hide anything from her, because immediately when she asks, he hands her his wallet. He doesn't like jerk a way of like not wanting to show her or anything. He literally just hands it to her, and she opens it and she finds a condom in there, and then she gets all like kind of way about
terrified.
Yes. And I love Pacey just kind of being real with her. She's like expecting him to say certain things because they're getting an argument in the room, and she's insinuating that he like wants to hook up with Anna because Anna comes to their room in her bikini and says, hey guys, so we're gonna be in the hot tub, just wanted to remind you, and he's like,
what's Anna supposed to wear to go into the hot tub?
Exactly. And she's like, so a half naked Anna comes to our door wanting you to go to the hot tub and you have nothing to say. He's like, no, I don't have anything to say. And she's like, well, why not? And he's like, well, anything I say, you're just going to spin it. Like, I love that he said that to her. You're just going to spin it to make it fit like your narrative or whatever. And so, yeah, she just kind of, I don't know why they're making Joey like this, like why she's getting petty and jealous. It's really annoying. I don't like to see Joey not like know Pacey like that. Like, she should understand. She ultimately gets there. But like for her to kind of have this petty moment, and you just kind of have to play it. Okay, Joey's just really scared about the situation, and that's what's making her act out. Maybe she's feeling really insecure about the situation. That's what's making her act out. Maybe.
It was
so ultimately, so ultimately they do get into this fight. She calls Dawson. He ends up walking to find Anna by the hot tub. And she goes and they sit and talk. And then she kind of misreads, Pacey being really nice to her on the double date in the last episode, and Joey's kind of lack of wanting to give him any sex in this episode. She kind of takes that as this invitation of like, well, hey, why don't we just hook up? And Pacey's like, and she leans in to even kiss him. And Pacey's like, oh, no. That's not what's going to happen. She's like, why? It's just sex. It's not a big deal. And he says it is a big deal because it's like, when it's with somebody you really care about, and hurting her is not something I'm willing to do. So, even for a quick whatever, like that's not worth it to me. So this is not going to happen. And who's there to hear all of this and hear Pacey be the lovely Pacey that he is Joey, which you should already know that that's the kind of man you're with because Pacey is amazing. And so she hears it, and so that kind of, I guess, confirms everything for her that
she hears it.
I'm with a good guy that I don't need to be scared to do this with, which you should have known that the whole time.
You should have known that for literally months and months and months at this.
And she goes on
years at this point.
And she goes on.
Pacey's a good person.
And she goes on in the moment where they actually do to list off all of the things that he makes him wonderful. So she knows, but it takes this whole hemming and hawing to get there. So
she might as well, after all that, she might as well have literally been waiting for him fully, in some sort of ridiculously statuesque position. Like it's some sort of
like ready to go
ridiculous dream sequence back in the hotel room next to the fire, draped in a rug. Oh, I'm ready for you and all this business. She literally might as well have been that ready for it after hearing that. Why did you need to see all that? I don't get it.
Yes. But I like that they tried to, but because of how they framed it, it didn't quite have the full effect that I think they wanted. I think they wanted it to end up feeling like a spontaneous thing. Because I think, that's what they did with Andy and Pacey. That was the whole, we didn't think they did it. And then we see them having the conversation about not doing it, only to find out that they were the couple in that whole mystery that did it. Yeah. So I think they wanted it to feel a very spontaneous, it means more because we didn't have a whole big, we're doing it now conversation. It's just happening. And so I think that's how they tried to play it, but all of the nonsense that came before kind of take a little bit away from that. So, she's in her PJs. He helps her brush her hair, which is very sweet. It's a very kind of comforting kind of couple thing. I think him just touching her hair, brushing her hair for her. It's very sweet. It's very romantic kind of thing. And then she asks for his wallet and he says, oh yeah, you want to throw the condom away. Because he's very much I'm not pressuring you. If you don't want to have sex, we don't have to have sex. So he's perfectly fine throwing the condom away. And she's like, I want to throw the wrapper away. So, yeah.
Is that a sexy thing to say?
I mean, kind of, yes. Especially when he's not expecting that. And it's a spin on what he said, which was completely on the other side of the spectrum, not having sex at all, to her being no, we're going to throw the wrapper away. And hearing it from little Joey, sweet little Joey Potter. And maybe so then
because I'm not into Joey like that. Maybe that's why.
Okay. So then it becomes this really sweet romantic thing. And he's kind of confused. And so she's explaining to him. And she tells him, at the prom, when you knew this bracelet was, she goes through the greatest hits of Pacey and starts listing them. And she calls him sweetheart and she says, my love. And it's people don't really talk like that. So when you hear somebody say it in this kind of context, I think it's really romantic. And I really kind of like that.
I agree with that. Definitely. I like
so,
that.
She said, you kissed me first, sweetheart. And then talks about him, kissing her that by the side of the road. And then, and then you gave me 10 seconds to make sure I was sure. And, you remember this bracelet was my mother's at the prom and you bought me a wall and, all of the things. Right. And she's and all of the reasons why I wasn't ready then, after everything I just said, how is it so hard for you to believe that because of all of those things, why I'm ready now kind of thing. So I like that realization she comes to, that we all knew the whole time, this man's great. He will treat you well. He's treated you well. He's the one for you. So why would you have all these reservations? So I like that her coming to this is her leading the charge. She's undressing him. She's the one,
Yes.
telling him all of these things. She's dictating the moment. She's taking charge of the moment. So I love that they played it like that. And I love her coming to this realization. But like, we didn't need all of that before to get there.
We really didn't.
Because the moment that we do get is ultimately very, I think, romantic and beautiful, and how we want this first time to be for this epic build-up of a couple. So
it is,
yeah.
and it just looks and feels so warm and
yes,
pleasant and just
yes,
comfy, doesn't it?
Yes.
And I like that.
Yes, and there's kind of shock on his face, like,
yes, he doesn't.
It's so endearing. It's so endearing. So I love her kind of taking charge of the situation and then leading into that.
I mean, he's going to know what to do.
Once
he's going to know what to do. He doesn't know how to react to the
exactly.
saying this.
Yes, so it's happened. The big epic
it has happened.
Yes.
Applause for everybody. And the next episode is going to be Joey going the entire time, isn't it?
I don't know, is it?
Or is it going to be going, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I feel terrible. It's the worst thing ever.
You'll see. But the reaction is probably not what the aftermath is maybe not what you think it's gonna be. So I don't know. If I'm remembering right. So yeah,
it's not
Dawson is the only
from
Dawson.
Surely to
Dawson.
God.
Dawson is the only one who's sexless on the creek. Sorry,
Shock.
Sorry, Dawson.
Shock. That's because you were the world's worst person for years.
Yes. Well, Dawson's first time is very interesting. I will say.
I can imagine so. He's probably got his camera out. He's probably got every sort of line from rom-coms ready to go.
Well, what do you think about, just before we wrap up, like, what do you think Dawson's first time looks like? Is it with somebody that you think or do you think it's with a new person?
Oh, I can't even possibly speculate on that because I can't see why anybody would. But all I'm picturing is him taking it way too seriously.
Okay.
That's all I can possibly picture is whoever it's with, he's just going to take it way too seriously, panic himself, and then it's going to actively be awful. And he's going to have wasted his wasted, one of those famous wasted first times because you've overthought it situations.
Okay.
That you see in countless movies and shows and everything else.
Yes.
Oh dear, I've panicked. Oh dear, it's over with. It's one of those situations. I've thought too hard about it, and now now that's it, and I can't continue, and everybody's very dissatisfied with the whole situation.
No. You're fine. I just thought I'd bring it up because yes, now it's like all of our characters have gone there except Dawson, the lead character. So yeah, kind of a big deal episode here. But yeah.
I just don't see Dawson as a giving lover, Jeannine. I just don't see him as a very generous lover. Pacey, sure, yes, okay.
Yes.
Joey's in for the time of her life here, but
I don't know about that.
Anybody who's with Dawson, it's going to be. He's going to tell them it's about them, but it's going to be about him.
I think those are fair assessments based off of what you know about this character to see.
And then he's going to ruin it for himself and everybody else involved.
Oh my gosh, no faith in Dawson at all.
No faith. No faith.
Even after like his growth. But okay, we'll see. No. You'll see.
There we go. I think for another epic discovery in Dawson's Creek. Jeannine. Significant things happening, like we said, going on today. It's exciting to be back. Obviously, we're never going anywhere with discovering Dawson's Creek until, of course, we end up finishing Dawson's Creek.
Yeah,
we won't be going anywhere. But this show, at the moment, has just recently finished alternating for a time with diving into Doctor Who. We finished series 1, the 9th Doctor era last week. We'll be getting back into palling with Peacemaker for season 2 of Peacemaker that obviously aired earlier this year, for a couple of months before returning diving into Doctor Who in about February at some point.
Yes.
Which is not that far off, really. If you were into the Doctor Who stuff, it's not that long to wait. But that's what alternates with this show, Discovering Dawson Creek, every Monday here on It's a Wonderful Podcast. Of course, the main show is It's a Wonderful Podcast itself. That is every Friday, celebrating old movies Morgan hasn't seen. Every Wednesday, it is our Not Quite Christmas series on Morgan Hasn't Seen. It is our 70s Christmas horror series on the main show at the moment. It is the festive season. It is December. That's what's going on. Things have been scrolling down at the bottom of the screen all episode long if you have been watching today's episode. But if you haven't, if you are just listening today, hi, we love you too. Do subscribe wherever you are listening to today. Leave your comments on Spotify, rate and review and share everywhere else. Subscribe and ding your notification bell on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, if you are watching, but if you're not as well, go over and just ding it. This is good. Patreon and donation links you can also find in the description of the episode if you wish to support us in that way. And of course, on and across all the social medias, on the app formerly known as Twitter and on Blue Sky at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Purple Don with the 3 instead of the E in there because, Jeannine,
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at the Purple Don. All your romantic first times are where.
Oh goodness! You can find
me not in that way. Not in that way. Don't get excited.
You can find me Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search G9 Design on tpublic.com.
There we go. That does, of course, leave only one thing left to do. And in your finest impression of Andy Griffith, take us,
3, 2, 1.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it works.